But you're going to be leveling. There's a whole technique to it I'm not going to go into, but you also need radius blocks. If you don't have one for your particular radius, well, you have to first measure the radius. In one of these books, this is the one here that comes with these plastic ones in the back. I didn't pop out the under the string radius gauges that you can use to measure that because I had bought the set of the metal ones. And you can also go, if you Google Pick Guardian PDF, you can print these out. I just glued these to some cardboard. Even make some where you're cutting out the string slots, make a whole another set. For example, I don't have the 7 1/4, the 20, the 9 1/2, and both these are 9 1/2, so I still need to get that. But you could also just go side to side on them. I did the 9 1/4 like 7 1/4 like that. So I don't have the full set of blocks. Most of them are StewMac 14. I got this off eBay. But so you would interchange the bar with the radius block to make sure you're keeping the radius on that. And then the finishing files, I'll go to the end dressing file. So the end dressing files, the one on the right is from StewMac, and it's a much higher quality. The end surfaces are definitely flat. You're not going to scratch the fingerboard with it. It's one side's straight, one side's curved. It's a smoother file to it, as far as the cut is smoother. It's definitely worth every penny of it. This other one I got off eBay, just an extra one. It's rougher cut, and the edge of it wasn't ground down as well. So I did grind it down some more, and I don't use this as much unless I have a bunch to take off. Like on this particular Squier Affinity Strat, the fret ends are real pokey, so I'll probably use that a lot. But even when you're doing it, sometimes you get little like crow's feet type scratch marks in there. It's going to happen from time to time, even with the proper tools. I've put some scratches on fingerboards when I've done it. I've bought guitars where I saw the little scratches, but at least they're nice and rounded over nice. And there's a whole technique to that that's on the Fret Basics video. You can use the Can't Solve file. I just got this recently. I haven't used it too much where it's flat there. These are some other triangular files. Grinding them down at home, even with the belt sander and the grinder, is just a real pain because you're grinding steel. So I found it, I recommend definitely just go ahead and order these triangular files where they're ground down on the edges, because after all that work, they're still kind of, I don't completely trust this larger one here, but the small one's okay. And as far as recrowning the frets, I need to get a good recrowning file, because these are possible, but once you get real low, they're just a real pain. It just takes forever to get it rounded over. But if it's only a light, recrowning on that, you can start with like 800 grit sandpaper, and I'm doing the opposite side just so I don't ruin these frets. But I have the tape on it still, and you just running your finger over it, and that'll round it over. And then go to the next highest grit, 1,000, 1,500 grit, and then I usually go to the steel wool 4-aught steel wool, and then I go to a little bit of metal polish on them. But it's different for everybody as to how much you want. What did I touch? This is a diamond recrowning file from eBay. It's a complete waste of money. Don't buy it. It's just not shaped right, and it just didn't work right. Some other good purchases, because StewMac's got some great stuff. These are some gauges. I've marked ones when I use for the it says bass relief at 7th fret for a bass guitar. What else? I have my own little feeler gauges that make out of guitar strings. When you're adjusting the nut slot heights to measure it. So there's different ways you can save money doing this kind of work. I did buy this for sanding the frets. I haven't filed the grooves on the end yet, so I haven't really used this that much. It's just a little belt sander that they sell. What else? Ground down my own nippers here. Haven't tried them yet. I had made a smaller pair for removing them, but I had ground off too much of the side, so it doesn't work too well, but I haven't tried this one yet. The nut files I got off eBay were actually pretty good. I just wrote on them on a larger number so I can see it, what size they are, because I found the ones on StewMac just a little bit too expensive for all the stuff you need to get for doing this kind of stuff. This is something I made, just a fret holder. I saw something on eBay, but I put a flat radius on one and then 9.5 inch, so that you can put the fret in there and then round it off before you put a fret in. It's a certain. I think it's on the advanced fretting tape DVD from Stu Mag, but um, it doesn't seem that hard to figure out on your own parts how to do it. And there's a couple guitars I want to and that I need to refret to that I want to try that on. And another thing is these digital calipers. I never took that off. Got off eBay from China, that are really good for $10, less than $10. You can go to millimeters or digital or whatnot. The American system, and it takes a little battery in there. You can pop it out there if it gets every once in a while. Not every once in a while, but it says if it ever shows crazy numbers or whatnot, and that's happened to me only once. Pop the battery out and back in to reset it, and they're not quite the $45 whatever luthier calipers from Stu Mac, but they're much better than a pair of dial calipers that I had that were just impossible to rely on. And I definitely recommend these for $10. $10 you can't lose. It's a really great investment if you're on a budget.